Great. Jeff Bezos was very nice. He was terrific. He solved the problem very quickly, and he did the right thing, and he's a good guy.
To say that everything is falling apart for Donald Trump would be a bit of an understatement considering the disaster of a first 100 days that we just witnessed, and it is incredibly clear in Donald Trump's approach to the media. Not just how he responds to their questions, but the questions that are being asked. It's a development that I've seen a lot as of lately with who the White House is installing to ask just the most softball questions possible, with Fox turning against Donald Trump and calling out his disastrous presidency. They have installed some of the most ridiculous reporters I have ever seen. And even with them in place, Donald Trump is still giving ridiculous answers that had him laughed at to his face today. And we are going to get into all of that. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button. It goes a long way, and it really does mean a lot to me. Now, before we can get into the disaster press conference Donald Trump had, I want to give an example of the type of reporters they're bringing to the White House.
An accessible presidency in American history. So with that, let's kick it off, and I'm happy to take your question first, Aaron.
Thanks so much, Caroline, both for having us and for granting me the first question here.
Sure.
And I can attest to the deportations in Florida. My Uber drivers finally speak English again, so thank you for that. But my question for you is, what are the administration's plans for those who continue to defy the executive orders? Most notably, on my mind, are the ones related to what some would call trans men. I would call men trans women, which are men masquerading as girls in girls' sports.
Sure. Obey federal law, or you will be prosecuted. Obey federal law, and you could see your federal funding cut. Whether you are a college or a university, we have seen the president, again, using the leverage of this administration and to negotiate deals with some of the biggest colleges and universities in this country. And if they don't want to come to the negotiating table to apologize for the federal laws they have broken, to apologize for allowing Jewish American students on our nation's campuses to be unlawfully bullied and harassed, then there's going to be consequences for that illegal behavior.
My Uber driver now speaks English. And how can I best propagandize for the administration? These are the reporters. Now, that is the new media section that is now coming to the White House. All these conservative creators, whether it be YouTube, whether it be Instagram or TikTok, they are coming and just lobbing softball questions at Donald Trump. They are feeding propaganda to Carolyn Levitt. And they are all on the same message. Now, it is not a good message. It is a message filled with lies. But they are doing everything they possibly can to support this administration. While Carolyn Levitt frames it as having diverse and independent voices in the White House, it's just not true. And it was on complete display during Donald Trump's press conference outside the White House today, which started with just this ridiculous action.
How are you? There we go. How's it been? Give me a speech in Michigan. You're going to list the accomplishments of the administration. Yeah. If there was one big thing that you really wanted to have happen in the first 100 days, but didn't, what would it be?
Well, I think we've done everything, or it's in the process of being done.
I think this is just the perfect synopsis of Donald Trump's first 100 days. He's focused on golf. Even as everything falls apart, even as America reflects on what a disastrous presidency this has been in such a short time, he's still focused on the golf swing. Because why else would he be focused on anything else but himself and what he cares about in any given moment? And he, of course, was not questioned about how much time he spent golfing while the economy collapsed. Actually, he was asked this question by a reporter.
Mr. President, Jordan Conrad's doing the Gateway Pundit. I wanted to get your response on the leftist media. They're trying to hide the mugshots that are featured on the front lawn of rapists, murderers, pedophiles. What do you think of that? Aren't they proving to be the enemy of the people?
Well, I guess they are. I guess they are, right? Thank you. Who are you with?
I like your hat, by the way.
Who are you with?
The gateway pundits, sir.
Mr. President, what's your message to Republicans?
These are the type of questions that you see being asked of Donald Trump more and more. And I think not only does it reflect how poorly things are going in the White House, but also his deteriorating cognitive state. You have these conservative reporters asking Donald Trump questions that he only has to answer yes or no to. Asking him, do you think the media is the enemy of the people? That's not a question. That is leading Donald Trump to get to ramble about his own personal vindictive anger towards the press for covering him appropriately. And when they ask him softball questions, like I said, is happening a lot, he gives stupid answers like this.
As Pope? I'd like to be Pope. That would be my number one choice. No, I don't know. I have no preference. I must say we have a cardinal that happens to be out of a place called New York who's very good. So we'll see what happens.
Oh my God! If Donald Trump tries to become Pope, and you heard the reporters, even with his little, gaggle of propagandists, they are laughing at him. He wants to be Pope. He thinks he should be Pope. I don't think Donald Trump can cross the threshold of a church without exploding or catching on fire. I don't think J.D. Vance can anymore, considering what he did to the Pope. Joking. This is for legal purposes. We are not accusing J.D. Vance of having killed the Pope. This is a funny joke. This is not an accurate state. I do not want the administration to come after me. They're coming after journalists. Please don't come after me. I'm both a college student and an independent journalist. That seems like exactly the type of person they would want to target for free speech. So I didn't say that. But again, this just reflects the state of the current White House. It's because even their closest allies in conservative media won't stick their necks out for Donald Trump right now. And the clearest example of that came on Fox with Stephen Miller right here.
And near successes and things you still have to work on in terms of the first 100 days. New Fox News poll shows that the border has been one of your big successes. The cross-border illegal traffic has been reduced by 96%. Illegal aliens reduced into this country reduced by 99.99%. On this Fox News poll, President Trump gets big marks on that, 55% approval. He's about even on immigration in total, but everything else, he's sort of underwater. And particularly on the economy, tariffs, and inflation, he's well underwater. You've still got some work to do on that front. A lot of people think that he's spending too much time on tariffs and not enough time on the economy and lowering prices. What do you say?
Well, I don't want to make things awkward for you, John, but it is our opinion that Fox News needs to fire its pollster. And I won't surprise you with that. I don't think you're surprised that I'm saying that, but the Fox News pollster has always been wrong about President Trump. They were the ones that said all summer long that Kamala Harris was going to be the 47th president of the United States. So we don't acknowledge any of that polling. But I want to touch on the border issue for a quick second, because this is so significant. The last 4 years was defined by this unceasing flow of illegal aliens across the border. I mean, how much did you cover it on Fox? How much was this an essential topic of the entire debate?
Bill Melugin lived there basically for 4 years.
And here we are 100 days in, and we have the lowest border crossings in American history. As you mentioned, only 3 people got in the last month, but those 3 were all for legitimate and valid and documented medical reasons. In other words, there was a decision to provide them care and treatment at a local hospital or medical facility. I think even you, if we're being honest, are surprised at just how quickly we went from an open border to a sealed border. That surely ranks as not only one of the greatest achievements of this president, but any president.
All right, let me just, I don't mean to make you uncomfortable, but let me just come to one.
You won't succeed.
Let me just come to one item before we leave here, and that is executive order versus legislation. The president has, for all intents and purposes, sidelined Congress for the moment. The number of pieces of legislation that he has signed in the first 100 days, 5. Compare that to when he was the 45th president. He signed 30. Barack Obama, 14. Biden, 11. You have to go back to Bush 43 or JFK with 7 and 6 pieces of legislation in the first 100 days to get the low water mark. So he's got the low water mark since Franklin Roosevelt. When will he start working with Congress on getting legislation passed as opposed to doing everything by executive fiat?
Well, 2 different issues here, John. First of all, the executive orders and actions that we're talking about are fixing problems that were created by previous presidents, by the bureaucracy, by previous administrations. So it's the president's job and duty. If the previous president opened the border, then he's going to use executive action to close the border. If a previous president instituted illegal diversity, equity, and inclusion policies, then he's going to end that. If a previous administration choked off and strangled and suffocated the supply of American energy, as he did, President Trump's going to come in and open it up, and now we have gas prices plummeting. Now, with respect to legislation, I have a simple phrase for you. One big, beautiful bill. The decision was made, you covered it, Fox covered it, during the transition to focus on putting the broad strokes of the entire legislative domestic agenda into a single piece of legislation. So that legislation is going to include, and this is just a partial list, energy reform, permitting reform, massive, comprehensive structural tax reform, border reform, defense reform, and many other changes to our economic, tax, and domestic policies across the entire set of issues that we campaigned on. It's going to even deal, for example, with trans issues and gender issues, welfare reform. So all the 70, 30, 80, 20 issues that President Trump campaigned on are in that legislation that he has been negotiating with Congress behind the scenes night and day, and President Trump believes that we'll be able to get that bill signed in the very near future.
All right, we'll see. The timetable seems to be slipping somewhat. May not happen until sometime in the summer, but we're watching that closely.
Very
Stephen,
soon, John.
Good to catch up with you again.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Enjoy Michigan.
I sure
It's a
will.
good place. Thanks. Sandra?
All right.
Anyone who watches this show knows that I have a special place for hate in my heart for Carolyn Levitt as the spokesperson of the White House. But Stephen Miller has been out and about a lot more recently. He's been trying to carry the weight. Actually, I shouldn't do my shoulders like that. I said it yesterday in a video that I did, and some people that I said that I had a great Stephen Miller impression, that he talks like this, that he does that, and his collar is always popped up. None of his suits fit him correctly. You would think that a guy who probably makes as much money as he does would have clothes that fit him properly. But I think maybe it is that the fabric is so repelled by his being that it's, oh my God, like I don't even want to be near you. So his suit jacket is like always popped up, and he's like this. We've strayed from the point right now, but that's okay. I'm allowed to take a little time to attack the character of Stephen Miller. But the fact that he goes on Fox to say their pollster should be fired and then is immediately checked on, that is like a perfect representation of this administration right now. They don't even want Fox to be talking about what is happening. You know, I had someone tell me a story today about a friend of a friend who is a conservative, who's a Republican. It's not a friend. It's a friend of a friend of a friend. But they had said that they did not realize until today, until they were asked about the current state of the stock market, how bad it is. Because they exclusively watch Fox. And Fox has taken the Dow ticker off of their coverage when Donald Trump was crashing the stock market for those couple of days. It's still down, by the way. But it's not, you know, down 2,000 points every day as much as it used to be. They didn't know about it because Fox wasn't sharing it. So it is that propaganda outlet that Donald Trump's administration thinks is not doing a good enough job covering for them that they are attacking. Shouldn't that show how bad things are in this current Trump White House? I think it does a great job of showing that. This is where we're at. This is how deep into it is. That is crazy to me that they're going after Fox, that they need to ship in social media propagandists to help them. It's insane. And it's what we're going to continue to call out on this show every single day. And if you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video, and if you stuck around to the end, you can drop a blue heart in the comments. And until next time, I'll see you soon.